Hello and welcome to Sideways. This week, in our bumper Christmas episode, we're talking about ways of combating a sore head and a delicate stomach. Martin's gran used to use a few choice words from the Bible, but it didn't always cut it. We discuss Christmas songs we can't tolerate, and Martin puts us all off our tea by giving us too much information about bodily functions. Hangovers.
Have you had a haircut or have you got a bald cap on?
I've had a shave. I've had a shave in my head up.
Yeah, you're looking like Mr. Potato Head this morning.
You look like Norman Lamont this morning, so I don't know what you're talking about.
You smell like Norman Lamont.
You couldn't even say it. Anyway, what's going on?
Well, do you ever have? Do you ever put a cup down? So, I mean, you know you've got a cup on the go, and you're making yourself another drink, and then you think, where have I put my cup? And you search for it everywhere, you can't find it anywhere. Do you ever have that?
Yeah. I've done that many a time.
I can't find my mug this morning. I had a mug earlier on, and it's given me the slip, and I can't find it. It's the sort of thing that really winds me up. I don't know why.
Yeah, no, I'll tell you what does wind me up also, which happened to me this morning, is I put my coffee out, put the water in, etc., and then put the milk in, and then you suddenly notice that there's these little floaty bits on top where the milk's gone off, and I didn't realise I didn't smell the milk first to see if it was still okay, and it was off, and so I had to start again.
Yeah, after you've been through the entire rigmarole of, had you ground the beans as well?
No, I hadn't. No, I was using instant actually because I needed to do it a bit quick.
Oh, I can't believe that. Hang on, so I know you've got the wherewithal to grind your own beans and make proper fresh coffee, right? Yeah. So I know that. So don't try and sell me some other truth. And it's Sunday, and yet you're still choosing to go for instant coffee. Are you a psychopath?
No, just you sent me a message. We were supposed to be having doing this recording at 11. You suddenly said, I'm ready in 10 minutes, at about 10:30. So I thought, oh no, I'm running a bit late now.
Well,
so
you could have said it's not. Instant. You could have said it's not convenient. I can't do it till 11
because I want to grind some beans. Not really a good excuse.
Well, you say that, but that's exactly an excuse I would have used. I would have said, no, I'm making coffee. I'll see you at 11.
Yeah, well, any old excuse for you, but I'm more professional. Actually,
it wasn't very professional of me to change the meeting time, was it?
Not really. And I had to scroll back over messages over the last week to find the link for this week, because you don't bother to send me a new link each week now. I have to go back and find last week's one, which is a bit of a nuisance.
Well, I did send you a message at the time saying it was a recurring meeting request, so you could use it for every meeting. I'm surprised you haven't got it on a bloody Excel spreadsheet.
Well, I haven't worked out a way of saving the link to the to my iPhone home screen, but I'm sure there probably is a way somehow.
Yeah. Anyway, what's new? How are you? You all right?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. Yeah, how about you? You all sort of ready for Christmas?
No, not really. I've had a cold this week actually. My voice has been a bit croaky, so I'm probably available for voiceovers. No, I haven't felt particularly Christmassy. And then next door, they put some lights up on the front of their house, and they're particularly, you can put them on a setting where they're ridiculously flashy. So they're kind of like, it's like a strobe on the front of next door's house. And then at night, when I've got the blinds closed, I can still see it flashing through the window. So that's made me feel totally unfestive and somewhat Scrooge and Grinch-like.
Well, yeah, in the old days, we'd just thrown snowballs at those, wouldn't we? sort that lot out. But
well, we didn't have that. We didn't have that, did we? When we were kids, you didn't put lights on the front of your house, did you?
No, true. No, we didn't. No,
you only had lights on your tree, and of course, in those days, correct me if I'm wrong, but it was coloured lights on your tree in those days, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
And I don't know if I've ever told you this, but one year before I was born, my mother used to tell a story about how. One year, the Christmas lights wouldn't work, which was also quite common when we were kids.
Every year.
And you go through and you tighten every bulb, and usually there'd be one loose and then they'd start working again. Anyway, this year they didn't work. And my brother, because my mum had a habit of only putting the tree up on Christmas Eve, so the lights didn't work. And my brother went into an absolute flat spin about not having lights on the tree, and the only thing that placated him was they put a torch in the middle of the tree, shining through the branches to try and calm him down a bit. Which
we were tough in those days, weren't we?
Yeah.
Oh,
anyway,
yeah.
Are you feeling Christmassy then?
No. No, not really. I never really do. In fact, I listened to. I went back and listened to our Christmas episode from last year.
Oh yeah,
which was. It's strange how we've changed over the year. Really. That was season 1, episode 4, and we're now on season 3, episode 3. So, we've done a lot of episodes since then, and it was. It was quite subdued, really. It was quite subdued. Yeah, it was. But I think the Christmas, I think what we were talking about then still holds very true. This year.
Yeah, I don't tend to look back at my earlier work.
Well, I thought as a reference point, I thought it would be quite a good idea.
Yeah, no, absolutely right.
I was still brilliant even early on, but yeah, you've come on leaps and bounds, bless you.
It's nice to see that all this time later you're still deluded.
Well, I'll tell you what I want to talk about. I'm going to cut to the chase. Otherwise, we could go on forever.
Yeah, good idea.
Actually, my working title is it's a saying that my mum used to use, and it's one which she used to use more around the Christmas period than other times of the year. So I thought it's relatively festive, which was "Merry nights make sorrowful mornings," and that's my title for this week. It was bless her, my mum used to trot it out regularly to myself and my 2 brothers when we were sort of languishing in bed or on the sofa with a terrible hangover. But that was all the sympathy she showed. That was it. It was that one say trotted out and you had to get on with it. Whilst my nan, Gan, who we talked about in the past, who lived with us, she was a bit more sympathetic. She used to bring us a cup of tea and paracetamol and perhaps a few little chosen words from the Bible just to set us down. Well, actually, it wasn't. No, it probably wasn't a few chosen words. I remember she used to say that it was God's way of telling us not to drink too much, and which I didn't really. Most of the time, I was in too much of a state to have any sort of theological discussion with her about it. But I do remember saying one time in my defence, I said, "Well, it's Jesus' fault because he turned water into wine." So he's obviously advocating the overuse of alcohol. So I was even playing the blame game back then. I was in my sort of early teens.
That's very good. I just had, when you were telling me about Gan giving you a few chosen words from the Bible, I had this image in my mind of you lying on the sofa watching the big match while she's reading she's got the good book open and she's reading a verse or two to you from I can't imagine which part of the Bible actually has any direct advice for the over imbiber.
No, I can't put my hand on any particularly, but I would say, the thing is with Gangan, she didn't really need to open the Bible. She knew it pretty much off by heart. So at any given point, she'd say, "Oh, that's in Matthew 7, chapter 9. And he did say unto you," and so it came out like that. It was, I've got to take my hat off to her for her knowledge.
She was like a theologian equivalent of a London taxi driver.
Exactly, yeah. She always had a few little lines, a few little verses, but she said it in a very delicate manner. Bless her heart.
Okay, go on. And so you want to talk about hangovers then, by the sound?
I do really.
Yeah,
I do. Are you happy with that? I mean, obviously,
that's fine. Yeah. I'm quite happy with that. I haven't had a hangover for a very long time, so I don't know if that will in some way hamper. I mean, neither of us have. So
no. Yeah. I'd say, but it's something that everyone's had, haven't they? Looking back at it, and when I was writing this, I was trying to think when I first used to start to get hangovers. But I remember, it was back as early as the 1980s. I remember when my first job I got after leaving school was with a company in Maidstone with the Norwich Union, and I remember missing on more than one occasion missing days off of work because of hangovers. So even back then, So I wasn't very old then. So, looking back on it, you can see that, drinking was quite a big part of my life, even back then.
Yeah, you didn't miss any days of school due to hangovers, though, did you?
No, luckily not. That would have been taking it a little bit too far, but I wasn't far from it, I've got to say.
I bet it happens.
Yeah, I'm sure it does. I mean, I think I remember my drinking had reached sort of epic proportions during the last couple of years before detox, as I was never actually sober enough to have a hangover. You know,
even the thought of that is it's quite hard for me to even get my mind around that.
Yeah. I mean, what did used to happen, as most alcoholics will tell you, is that when you wake up in the morning, you're almost instantly sick, and you're doing the horrible dry retching. That's if you managed to make it to the bed, or if you had any sleep, which correlated with nighttime anyway, which was quite rare. You know, it was sporadic. But after that, once you'd had that early morning sickness or carried on that dry retching, you felt okay, and then but you needed to carry on drinking at that point, because you'd start to get the shakes, you'd start to go into withdrawal. That's certainly something I don't miss. But I remember someone telling us about this in groups, and I can I can understand why. I never did it myself, but you used to get to the point you used to wake up in the morning, you'd be sick. Sometimes it might take a few minutes to be sick, and so you'd wake up and you had this horrible dichotomy. But if you drank a bit of vodka, you knew you were going to be sick, and you'd lose the effects of the vodka would have been lost. Or I learned in the end, if I drank a bit of water, I could be sick, and then I felt okay, and I could carry on drinking on vodka. I remember one of the guys telling us that he hadn't quite worked that out earlier on, and he used to be deliberately sick into a glass so he could re-drink the vodka.
My God.
Yeah, and that's the sort of depth. That's the depth that it takes you to. But the thought of it, I mean, you can't imagine, can you?
Apologies to anyone who's eating their tea at the moment while they're listening to this. Apologies to anyone who was eating their tea. I mean, that when I hear stuff like that, it kind of brings it home to you, doesn't it? That the difference between the effects of drinking on an alcoholic is almost like a completely different thing from the experience that a casual drinker has of drinking too much. It's like you're not even in the same ballpark anymore. This is a completely different level. I mean, we all know that it's pretty grim waking up and feeling sick and having a headache and so on. But those sorts of things that you're describing, that's sort of almost like having to find a way of keeping yourself in perpetual forward motion so that you don't allow yourself to completely fall apart. I mean, it's terrifying.
It is terrifying. It's terrifying at the time. And looking back on it, you look at it with absolute horror and wonder how you ever got through any day, how you actually got through it without completely losing it. But going back to the hangover situation, I never really realised what was I knew what was causing it effectively. It was just getting pissed. That's the main cause of a hangover, isn't it?
Usually the cause, isn't it? It's usually got something to do with it. Yeah.
But there's so many theories as to what happens to your body and why you're getting hangovers and why some people suffer more than others. But when you look at it, when I was doing a bit of research on it, the ethanol in your drink, the alcohol, it's a toxic chemical, and the body, and it works in the body as a diuretic. And it makes you urinate more, and you become very dehydrated as a result. Mm-hmm. And your blood sugar levels at that point, they drop down, which contribute to the when you do wake up, you feel pretty lousy and sick and pretty delicate. And hangovers can last. Sometimes my hangovers used to last a couple of hours, or some of them used to last all day. Going back to that situation where I used to miss days off work.
Yeah.
Go on.
I was just going to say, on the subject of dehydration, I can remember someone once saying, the best way to combat a hangover is when you get in, drink a pint of water. And, I used to think, that's a great idea, isn't it? But when you've drunk 9 pints, the last thing you want to drink is another pint of water. It's like, you just don't even think about it, do you?
You don't, but you're not in probably a sound mind thing. But I remember trying that, and it doesn't really have an effect. No. It's like you try having painkillers before you go to bed, paracetamol or whatever you have to hand, and that doesn't work. And you get all these hangover cures that resolve. I remember us having a chat about that before. The easiest way is to, whilst you're out, if you are going out drinking, is to stop early, or to drink water in between drinks, and spread it out. But most people can drink sensibly, but a lot of people can't, can they?
Mm. Yeah, I certainly don't miss having them. That's for sure.
No, it is nice. That's one of the great benefits of recovery, is that awful feeling the whole time. But also, when you look at it, alcohol, it's such an irritant, which is why, it can leave your stomach in a bad way the next morning as well. I don't know if you ever remember that as a side issue, but I know certainly it used to be a big problem. Again, people in recovery would tell you how often, they'd wet the bed, or they would just soil the bed as well.
Oh my God!
Yeah, I know. There's some stories that go around. It didn't actually ever happen to me, but I remember I've talked about it before. The first relationship I had with someone after getting divorced was a girl who had a drink problem, and she used to wet the bed, and it used to be awful. If can you imagine both of us being like that? We'd have had to swim out in the morning, wouldn't we? It would have been a pretty unpleasant experience.
Oh my God, that's just disgraceful. No, that really is beyond the pale. It must have such an impact on you in terms of the way you feel about yourself, surely.
Oh yeah, I remember this person I was in a relationship with. She used to wake up and she was so dreadfully embarrassed by what had happened, and it was almost trying to hush it up. I don't know whatever happened to her. Whether she
how can you hush that up? How are you supposed to hush that up?
Well, she wouldn't talk about it.
Okay, so it would be like it was the elephant in the room.
Yeah, very much. Yeah, the bed was stripped and everything was taken away and dealt with. Right. And it's not something that was talked about.
Mind you, to be fair, if I had to sleep with you, I'd probably have such bad nightmares it'd make me wet the bed.
There's not a bed big enough, mate, to climb in with you. So there we go. Anyway, where were we?
Well, you were talking. Well, you're really running the gamut this morning. You've talked about vomit, defecation, and piss in the bed so far. So this is turning out to be a real festive episode, isn't it?
I know you did say to me we're doing a festive one. I thought it's slightly festive, hangovers, and a little bit of the Bible thrown in there. I thought that's quite good. That'll do. That tick that box. But quite clearly, we've moved a long way away from that. I'll tell you what I did find out as well, which is why I looked up some of the myths and some of the research at how sketchy it's been around hangovers. Because this search for a hangover cure always seems to me the wrong way to go about things. Really, it should be let's educate people about not drinking to the point where you get a hangover. But there's such a massive industry around, built around dealing with hangovers. So it's almost accepted that you're going to get one. So this is how we deal with it. So it's a firefighting medicine, really, isn't it?
It is. I can't really remember now. We must have thought when we were younger. We must have thought about, I'm going to suffer tomorrow. But I suppose there's just that sort of. It doesn't matter, does it? In the moment, there's a much greater reliance on. I'll deal with that when it comes, and maybe it won't be too bad or whatever else. But some of the hangovers that I bear witness to these days are real absolute stinkers. And I think, God, I don't want to lose my entire Sunday feeling like that.
No, I think you did. One of the reasons I was writing notes about hangovers was because I think you did text me at one point, and it might have been several weeks ago, and said we ought to do one on hangovers, which I assumed was probably based on watching your son and perhaps his girlfriend languishing around yours after a heavy night.
I think what I'd done is, didn't I send with that message a picture of Tom lying on the sofa under a blanket? Yeah. And it was about 3:30 in the afternoon, and he hadn't even had anything to eat. It was like he was poorly. He's like he had the flu or something. And
I do remember looking at that picture and thinking, oh yeah, that brings back old memories. Not nice ones either.
I'm not. I mean, I must admit, I am certainly much closer to your mum's end of the spectrum than Gangans, because I don't have a lot of sympathy for them. Really, it makes me laugh most of the time.
Yeah, I don't think sympathy is the way to deal with it particularly, but it's a passage of rights sometimes if people feel that at some point you're going to have that, which is why doing an episode on hangovers, most people should have some sort of, they can relate to it, but I'm taking it to the extreme really, aren't I, as to the effects and as to what's happened. But looking at the hangover cures, they were very much looking at the congeners in the drinks, and which is the chemical byproduct of the alcohol fermentation process. Yeah. And they found that more predominantly in the dark drinks such as red wine and bourbon and brandy and whiskey and dark coloured beers, and they were saying in the research, those are the ones to avoid, or they're your worst hangover nightmare, because although they enhance the taste and the smell of the alcohol, and they're essentially toxins, which leads to hangovers. And they found that. Do you remember? I used to be quite a big fan of Jack Daniels. I don't know about you, whether you ever got into that or not. But
no, Jack Daniels, I've never been fond of spirits, to be honest.
No, you didn't get to that point where the spirits is the only thing that really cut it, because any other beer is way too weak, and it doesn't have the effect, and it certainly doesn't have the effect quickly enough. But with Jack Daniels and other bourbons and dark drinks like that, they reckon there's over 37 times more congeners than vodka. Okay, wow. Vodka's considered a sort of a purer drink. It doesn't mean you won't have hangovers with vodka, because you if you are drinking vodka to the amount that I used to, then it's going to ruin you anyway. But all these extra bits on top, which is why people say mixing the grape and the grain causes problems. It's not really. It's just if you take on these drinks that have these congeners in there, which contribute to the hangover because they're toxic. Which I didn't know particularly until I was doing the research. I know there's myths about it. I'm okay unless I drink red wine or drink this or drink whiskey.
People drink some of those drinks. I mean, some of those are about lifestyle as well, aren't they? I mean, I can remember, although I've never really liked whiskey, but I can remember when we were younger, a lot of people used to drink Jack Daniels because it was kind of associated with music, with musicians.
It was, yeah. Yeah.
And so that always used to be quite a popular drink, and I used to think, no thanks, I don't fancy that. I can remember Adam got very, very drunk on him. I don't know if it was whiskey or it was Jack Daniels one time at a party, and was sick in his own shoe.
Yeah, it's a powerful brew. Let's put it that way.
It's such a powerful brew, you'll be sick in your own shoe.
There's a lyric in there, isn't there? That's why it's associated with music. It brings out the lyricist in you, doesn't it? Bit of JD.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah, well, I didn't want to go into hangover cures. I didn't want to talk about that because I have a dislike of them. But do you remember? Again, we're listening back to the Christmas episode, and I've listened. Sometimes I go back and listen to just some of our old ones just to see how we progress. But I caught a bit on one of them about hangover cure that Channel 5 were talking about, which was basically drinking more alcohol. And I remember at the time being quite incensed about it, and we talked about it on one of the episodes. And I just thought, that's completely irresponsible, isn't it? They're showing these cocktails which are more gentle on your stomach, but still contained alcohol to bring you down gently. I mean, I thought, wow, that's if ever there's some way to encourage someone to drink too much and then to drink again in the morning to get you up on your feet again, unbelievable.
So really, what they were advocating was that the best cure for a hangover is to stay pissed.
Well, that was exactly right, because that's the ultimate cure, isn't it? Really,
yeah.
if you hang on, that's never let it settle.
Yeah, if it works for an alcoholic, then
exactly. Yeah.
I mean, they're professional drinkers. Let's be honest.
Well, you've got to tilt your hat in the direction of such experience.
Very good.
Yeah. So I'm not going to go into that. But hangovers, I don't miss them, and I'm sure you don't either, as you very rarely drink these days. So
if I do drink, I know when to stop. And so I think our Christmas message here is have a good time, but don't drink so much you end up shitting the bed. Is that the message? Is that the bottom line? Is that a summary?
I think you summed it up perfectly. And I think if they had that Christmas message, you can imagine it, can't you? You can imagine it. I think it's from the pulpit, a midnight mass. I'm just going to leave you this little message. I'm going to pass over to Graham Landy for this one, and you can stand up and deliver that message. But I think we're better leave it. But I'm going to stay with sort of a biblical theme, if you like.
All right.
For what I've learned this week.
Oh.
And I don't know if you've given yours a thought, have you? But
no, I haven't.
A little question for you, okay?
Yep.
Do you know who the oldest man in the Bible was?
Is it Boo Hewerdine? He was in the Bible, wasn't he?
What the group of the Bible?
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Neil McCall. Neil McCall was it? He was the oldest guy in the Bible, perhaps. I don't know. I imagine you're talking about the book. I don't know. The person who came to my mind was Job, but I don't think it was Job, was it?
No, it's Methuselah.
Oh yeah, he had long hair, didn't he? Didn't he have snakes in his hair or something?
I don't know about that.
Oh.
I think you get mixed up with some ancient Greek
mythology. I might be thinking of Gene Simmons in Kiss.
One of the two, but I'll give you a 10 years either side, all right? But how long do you reckon Methuselah? How old do you think Methuselah was when he died?
Okay, 10 years either side. I reckon he was 211.
969.
Wow.
That's quite old, isn't it? It's quite old.
Do you know what? I reckon that's too old, isn't it?
It's too old.
That's too old. Would you want to be alive for 969 years?
Oh, I can imagine. Can you imagine? You think, he was just knocking on his 1,000th birthday. What do you think? I'm going to get to 1,000, and then the good Lord takes him. All right. Imagine. I don't know what the Queen would have sent him on his 1,000th birthday.
Yeah, I mean, a telegram's not going to cut it, is it, at that stage?
No. Anyway.
Well, that's great. I haven't learned anything. I can't beat that anyway. I think I'll doff my cap to you there. Well, I suppose you're going to ask me about guilty pleasure now, are you?
Not yet, no, because I haven't finished what I've learn't this week.
Oh, crikey!
All right, especially you haven't bothered to do one. I thought I'd better fill in for you. I always have fill-in notes because I know you don't put the graft in on it. But I'm going to go back to Methuselah, right? Because he just to put him into context, he was the granddad of Noah. All right, wow. So it's Noah's granddad. Yeah. And do you know Noah, right? He lived to 950, so there was obviously longevity in the family. Yeah.
God, they got good genes in that family, haven't they?
Well, what I liked about Methuselah as well, I was thinking about Methuselah. I thought, well, I'm sure you can get a Methuselah of champagne, can't you?
Oh,
you know,
yeah,
one of those
you
big
can.
bottles. Because you get Jeroboams and you can get a Methuselah. And I thought, wow. So I couldn't remember. Do you know how many bottles of champagne there are in a Methuselah? Because I didn't know.
Well, I'm going to guess. I'm going to say 4.
No, it's 8.
8 bottles of champagne. Yeah. I mean, you scarcely be able to lift that, would you?
No, you wouldn't. But I was just thinking at that point, lucky I didn't sell vodka in Methuselahs in my day because I'd have had a Methuselah a week easy. You talked about your Tesco shopping turning up and they're clacking the bottles together. Yeah. And said, "You be careful with that one, sir. It's got the important stuff on it." I can imagine I've ordered a couple of Methuselahs of vodka and see him stagger up the path with that one.
They'd have brought it up on a trolley. Well, I expect in your heyday, you'd have had a Methuselah of champagne with your orange juice on Christmas morning, wouldn't you?
No orange juice, easy. Anyway, yeah. So sorry, I interrupted you a little bit. Guilty pleasure musically, yeah.
Well, I wanted to change it up this week.
Oh, okay.
Unless you've got something really good. I was going to ask you what your least favourite Christmas song is.
Oh, okay.
Because I've got two. Two immediately come straight into my mind whenever I think about that question.
Oh,
I've caught you on the hop now, haven't I?
Yeah, you have. I'd probably go for what's that Mariah Carey one?
Oh, well, that's one of mine. All I Want for Christmas Is You.
Yeah, that's it.
You can't stand that either.
No, I couldn't remember the name of it, but I remember, and I think it was it's. Yeah, I think I remember it was played at the end of Love Actually as well, I think. And I remember thinking, I remember how bad that song is, how much I hate it. And it gets trotted out. But a lot of the Christmas songs, they all become overplayed, don't they?
Yeah, it's number one, that song.
Number one
in the official UK charts
at the moment.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh my God!
So I can't stand that, but the other one I can't stand is bloody Chris Rea Driving Home for Christmas.
All right. Okay.
Absolutely hate that song.
Actually, no, I wouldn't put that. I'd put. I wish it could be Christmas Every Day by Wizard as more as above that in my unliked Christmas songs.
Oh, I had that. I think I've got that on single somewhere in a picture gatefold sleeve.
Yeah, if I'd have known you can ask that, I'd have researched it a bit and had a look and thought, oh yeah, because I'm sure there's some I've forgotten about which were truly dreadful.
Well,
truly dreadful. But
Chris, you don't need to go any further than Chris Rea Driving Home for Christmas.
Yeah, Chris Rea. I mean, he used to like writing songs whilst he was stuck in traffic jams, like he did Road to Hell. Yeah, he did Road to Hell. Yeah, Road to Hell was obviously was a homage to the M25. So he was sitting in there stuck in the traffic jam and wrote that, and Driving Home for Christmas he did the same again. So he used traffic jams to write songs in which. So I'm sort of all right with it.
Oh well, that's that. There you go. That's what I've learned this week.
You can't just piggyback on my knowledge.
Okay, good. Are we done?
Yeah, I reckon, don't you?
Yeah, I'm going to go and find a tangerine now and a walnut or something. That'll make me feel festive.
Well, yeah, I think you ought to put some little Christmassy music on the end. I'm sure you've already got it sorted out what you're going to be doing as an intro and outro, but I didn't make it as festive as you probably wanted this episode.
That's fine. I will. Yeah, I'm going to do a Christmas song this week.
Excellent. Is it one you've written yourself? No,
it isn't.
You've never written a Christmas song?
Yeah, I have written a Christmas song. I was on a songwriting workshop once, and it was in July, and the task was write a Christmas song. And I worked with another guy, and we did write a Christmas song. It was quite nice, actually. So I might put that. I won't put that on this episode, but I might put that on at some point, probably in the middle of the summer.
You know, I was reading up about Christmas singles at once. So this is before. If I'd have known, I'd have done more research. But do you know that Noddy Holder, who wrote, the famous Slade song, "Merry Christmas, Everybody," he earns $800,000 a year in royalties from that.
Yeah,
$800,000 a year. That's a touch, isn't it? That's a nice Christmas present on its own, isn't it?
And that's just from it being played in Tesco's.
All the versions of it, you can get it in elevators. So the elevator music, they do a version of it.
Jeff, we need some new Christmas songs. Maybe I'll write a Christmas album next year.
I think you should, because imagine if you write the next Noddy Holder on $800,000 a year just for it being played on the radio. Yeah. Easy, eh? Easy life.
I keep thinking I should write a special song for one of the episodes, but I never get round to it because I always end up recording it, on the day that I release it, and it's too late then. All right.
Okay.
We've been going ages today.
Yeah, well, there's a lot to cut out there. There's a lot of crap, wasn't there?
Well, Christmas special, though.
Christmas special.
Yeah. Comics are always bigger at Christmas, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah.
Whizzer and Chips was always double issue at Christmas.
I've got the Christmas edition of Viz this year, which has got it's got a Christmas. It's got a 2021 calendar in it, which is nice.
Excellent. Is Roger Melly in it?
It's very tasteful. I haven't read through it actually yet.
Right.
No, I've only read. But I did read. The first one was 8 Ace. Do you remember 8 Ace, the alcoholic chap in Viz?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a cracker. It's a very good one where he uses he uses an old lager tin as the fairy on top of the tree. No,
I bet you've done that.
I think he's stereotyping. I think I'll have a word with Viz. They're stereotyping us alcoholics. Then again, his missus does make him live in the shed at the bottom of the garden, which is. And he had his own little Christmas tree down there with just empty cans of lager hanging on as decoration. But that's where alcoholism takes you.
Yeah, he probably instead he hang some miniatures on the branches as baubles.
That's a bit too advanced, I think.
All right, I'll see you anon then.
Okay, later.
All right, mate. Bye.
Bye.
Sideways was created by Graham Landy and Martin Pankhurst. If you want to read more about our work, visit grahamlandywellbeing.co.uk/sideways-podcast. You can follow us on Twitter, and you can find us on Facebook at Sideways Podcast, or you can email us to let us know what you think of the show and with anything else that you'd like to ask us. Finally, we want to thank you for listening. We want to wish you a very happy Christmas and a peaceful New Year, and ask that if you've enjoyed what you've heard, that you spread the word. And we'll see you next week. Have yourself a merry little Christmas. Let your heart be light. From now on, our troubles will be out of sight. So have yourself a merry little Christmas now.